There is an island 186 miles from Tokyo where 8,000 people used to live. The hospital is still standing. The school desks are still in the classrooms. The last resident left in 2002, and almost nobody knows it exists. Japan has more places like this than any country on Earth. These are 8 of them. Number 8. Matsuo Mine Ghost City, Iwate Prefecture. They called it paradise above the clouds. The Matsuo mine opened in Iwate Prefecture in 1914. At its peak, it was the largest sulfur mine in the entire Eastern world. To house the workers, the company built 11 concrete apartment buildings on the side of the mountain, each one 4 stories tall, with central heating, flushing toilets, and garbage chutes. Luxuries almost unheard of in rural Japan at that time. The city held 15,000 people, a hospital, a movie theater, schools for the children of miners who had never lived anywhere else. The mine went bankrupt in 1969. The 15,000 people left. The 11 buildings stayed. They are still there today, sitting on the mountainside inside Hachimantai National Park, half swallowed by permanent fog. And here is the detail that does not leave you. The mine poisoned the mountain so thoroughly that acidic water still drains from it into the Kitakami River to this day. A treatment facility runs around the clock, 365 days a year, neutralizing 18 cubic meters of toxic water every single minute. The mine closed over 50 years ago. It is still not done with the mountain. Number 7. Hachijo Royale Hotel, Hachihojima Island. There is an island 186 miles south of Tokyo that used to be called the Hawaii of Japan. In 1963, at the height of Japan's post-war economic boom, developers built a French Baroque palace on its coastline. 252 rooms, chandeliers, crown molding, an Olympic-sized pool, Greek statues on the facade. It was the largest hotel in all of Japan. And it was built on the assumption that Japanese tourists would never be able to afford to go anywhere else. They were wrong. When flights to Hawaii and Thailand became affordable, Hachijojima lost its reason to exist as a destination. The tourists left. The hotel tried to survive under 2 different names. It did not work. The doors closed for good around 2006. The building is still standing. Security trucks still patrol the grounds. The owner refuses to allow demolition. Inside, the tropical climate has turned the sealed building into a greenhouse of decay. Mold on the ceilings, vines through the windows. The Olympic-sized pool choked with vegetation. But other rooms sit completely intact, curtains still hanging, furniture still in place exactly as the last guests left them. A palace that Japan built for itself, abandoned the moment Japan decided it wanted something better. Number 6. Nichitsu Mining Village, Saitama Prefecture. There is a village in the mountains of Saitama Prefecture, about 50 miles from Tokyo, where the hospital still has X-rays on the walls, medicine bottles still on the shelves, kitchen utensils still in the houses, a school, a movie theater, a post office. All of it standing, all of it empty. The Nichitsu Mining Company built this village because the mines were too far from any city for a daily commute. The village grew until it held 3,000 people, a complete town in the mountains, built entirely around a single purpose. When the mining operations wound down in the late 1970s, the workforce left. The company left. The buildings did not. Today, Nichitsu is one of the most intact abandoned villages in Japan, and almost no one outside the country has heard of it. Number 5. Takashima Island, Nagasaki Prefecture. Almost everyone who visits Nagasaki has heard of Hashima. Almost no one has heard of Takashima. Just 12 kilometers from Nagasaki, Takashima Island was where Japan's coal industry began. In 1695, a fisherman noticed coal washing up on the shore. In 1868, a Scottish merchant named Thomas Glover brought the first steam-powered mining equipment ever used in Japan to this island. What happened here was the beginning of Japan's Industrial Revolution, and it happened on a small island that history mostly skipped over in favor of its more famous neighbor. The mines closed in 1986. Today, Takashima has a small museum and a preserved section of the original mine. A few hundred people still live there. The ferry from Nagasaki takes 25 minutes. You will likely be the only visitor on it. Number 4. Hashima Island, Nagasaki Prefecture. 15 kilometers off the coast of Nagasaki, there is an island that looks from a distance like a warship. The Japanese call it Gunkanjima, Battleship Island. Its real name is Hashima. Mitsubishi began mining coal from beneath the seabed here in the late 1800s. To house the workforce, they built the island up. Concrete apartment blocks, a hospital, a school, a cinema, a Buddhist temple. By 1959, Hashima held 5,259 people on 6.3 hectares of land, the highest recorded population density of any place on Earth at that time, 7 times denser than central Paris. Every inch of that island was used. During World War II, Korean and Chinese forced laborers were brought to Hashima to work in the undersea mines. Temperatures inside the tunnels reached over 85 degrees. More than 1,300 laborers died from accidents, exhaustion, malnutrition, and disease. Survivors describe conditions that earned Hashima 2 nicknames: Hell Island, Prison Island. When coal lost to petroleum, Mitsubishi closed the mine on January 15, 1974. The last resident left on April 20th. Every belonging, every piece of furniture, every curtain and every window was left behind because removing it was not worth the cost. The island was sealed for 35 years. It reopened to limited guided tours in 2009. From the viewing platforms, you can see collapsed floors, rusted staircases going nowhere, and apartment windows with the curtains still hanging. Number 3. Ikeshima Island, Nagasaki Prefecture. There is an island in Nagasaki Prefecture where the last resident left in 2002. Before that, 8,000 people lived there. Like Hashima, Ikeshima was built entirely around coal. At its peak, the island held 8,000 people on a piece of land barely a mile across. Schools, hospitals, shops. A population that believed, because every generation before them had believed, that the coal would last. The mine closed in 2002. The entire population left within months. And unlike Hashima, which became famous, Ikeshima was forgotten almost immediately. The buildings are still standing. The hospital is still standing. The school desks are still in the classrooms. But Ikeshima receives almost no visitors. No tour boats, no documentary crews. It simply sits in the East China Sea, empty, structurally intact, waiting for no one. If this is the kind of history that deserves to be told, subscribe. There is a lot more where this came from. Number 2. Matsushiro Underground Complex, Nagano Prefecture. In 1944, with bombing raids destroying Japan's cities, the Imperial Japanese government made a decision. They began digging. In the mountains of Nagano Prefecture, the military ordered the construction of a massive underground complex beneath Mount Minakami, designed to relocate the Imperial Palace, the government ministries, and military headquarters underground, out of reach of Allied bombs. The plan was to move the entire nerve center of Japan into a mountain. The work was carried out almost entirely by Korean forced laborers. More than 10,000 workers dug 6 kilometers of tunnels through solid rock. The conditions were brutal. Many did not survive. By the time Japan surrendered in August 1945, the tunnels were roughly 75% complete. The complex was never used. The emperor never moved. The war ended before the mountain could hide it. Parts of the tunnel system are open to the public today for free. You can walk inside and see the rooms that were built to house an empire that ceased to exist before the concrete even dried. Number 1. The full Matsushiro story, The Last Redoubt. The underground complex in Nagano was not just a bomb shelter. It was designed as the last redoubt of the Japanese Empire. The tunnel network beneath 3 mountains covers 10 kilometers. Room after room carved out of solid rock for the emperor, the empress, government ministers, and military commanders. A separate facility was planned to house the imperial regalia, the sacred objects that defined the legitimacy of the imperial line itself. The planners were preparing for the possibility that every Japanese city would be destroyed, and the government would continue the war from inside a mountain. Korean forced laborers worked around the clock in 3 shifts to dig it. Workers who died were often buried near the construction site. The tunnels were 75% complete when Japan surrendered. Today, you can walk into those tunnels for free. The rooms are still there. The ventilation shafts, the corridors that were supposed to hold a government that intended to fight to the last person. Standing in those rooms, you are inside a plan that the world never knew about, and a decision that was never made. Japan did not move into the mountain. It surrendered instead. And the mountain has been sitting there ever since, waiting for an occupation that never came. Japan is full of places like these. Islands, mountain cities, underground empires, all of it built, all of it abandoned, most of it forgotten. If you know a place like this that should be on a future list, leave it in the comments.